All right, victory. All right, and we're back. So, anyway, round one here. Um, yeah, driving across the country of Vietnam. And Long Dong, if you're watching, I was going to say I'd love some tips from you too, because you and I have actually traveled across the country before. But one here's like, let's say 10 tips, okay? 10 big ones. Number one tip for crossing the country: take your time. Take your time. It takes way longer than you think to cross the country. And a lot of folks actually look at traveling and going through Asia in like a check mark, check mark, check mark, kind of way, or bucket list kind of way. Or they overschedule things. We have 14 days and we want to see 14 cities. Something like that. Take your time. What's the hurry? What's the rush? If you see 14 cities in 14 days, did you really win? Just realistically speaking. And one way or another, the big idea is go as slow as you want, as slow as you can. Now, if I were to open up a page for, what do they call it, motorcycle tours and guided tours and that kind of thing, what I did want to say is you will find very quickly something crazy when it comes to how many kilometers per day. Some people believe that they can do 400 kilometers of motorbiking in one day. You can't. You can't. When you open these guided tour pages, they're going to say something like 130 kilometers, 6 hours. Yeah, that's how long it takes. It's a long trip. It's a long trip. And 300 kilometers in a day, that's a full day. And to be fair, it kind of sucks, actually. Trying to do that long, 300 kilometers, 300 kilometers, 300 kilometers, 300 kilometers, and so forth, is actually really, really tricky. Is actually really tricky. Mm. More to the point, it's just plain not comfortable. Oh, hey, Quentin. Good to see you, buddy. Uh, um, but one way or another, okay, yeah, and yeah, Quentin, you're a motorcycle guy. You know your way around. Uh, Not only repairing bikes, but driving bikes and so forth. You know what I'm talking about. You can't do 300 kilometers a day back to back. I think when you're traveling, looking at like 100 kilometers a day, now you're talking. Now you're talking. But Brad, that'll take weeks to get across the country. Yeah, exactly. Big tip number one: take your time. Take your time. Go slow. Take a lot of days off. That kind of thing. And what I did want to say is point number two: pack light. Super light. One bag. One bag. One backpack. I have seen it just countless times, where folks have like four bags, or they have like their motorcycle with like saddlebags on the right and left side of it, and then they like weld on racks and stuff. So they have a bag here, bag on the back, and then a bag on their backpack or on their back while they're riding. Why? You don't need any of that stuff, and I'm telling you right off the bat that okay, as an example, I went traveling with my buddy Yoki, and I had a bag and a half, he had a bag and a half. But obviously, when we're traveling, we cut our luggage in half. That means half of it, got rid of it. And we were actually still fine. Then, when we rented a motorbike, we decided to cut it in half again and combine both our stuff into one bag. And it worked. And then we cut it in half again once we got to weigh. And really, we kind of figured out you pretty much need a bag about this size, and you can pretty well cross the country with that only. You need a change of clothes, battery charger, and a list of a few items that are like the must-buy kind of items. And one way or another, this is, I'll send a link right now, stuff that'll be very useful for your trip. But I was going to say, even if you bought every single item that I've got right here, which won't be very expensive, this is like a quarter of one bag. Yeah, so you're still sitting awesome. Repair cheat sheet, here we go. Almost there. Here we go, got it. There we go. Yeah, so here's a list of things that are worth buying if you're interested. But even then, it's nothing. Moving forward, if you have too many bags, the trouble that you're going to run into is A, it's heavy. B, it's cumbersome. C, when you got to pack and unpack, it takes a lot of time. It takes a long time, like a couple hours, really. And oh yeah, Nicholas, Vietnamese driver's license. Great question. Very, very great question. Technically, yes, believe it or not. I've looked into the Vietnamese laws and so forth, and technically, yes, you do need a Vietnamese driver's license and or Vietnamese insurance and that kind of thing. Technically. But in practice, no. Really, you don't need hardly anything. If you were to get pulled over by the police, theoretically, they could throw the book at you, but they won't. They never do. I've never heard of anybody ever in history, a foreigner that is, get busted or otherwise jailed or otherwise hassled for not having a driver's license. With that said, on the note of driver's license, you are able to apply for an international driver's license permit. And if you were to otherwise have that from your home country and show up in Vietnam, that would be considered valid. So that's cool. If you brought, let's just say, an American driver's license here, again, no one's ever really gotten busted over it. So yeah, you should be good to go. Now, here's a gotcha with regards to the driver's license. Okay, traveler's insurance. What that means is a lot of people are able to pay, let's say, $80, and you can get international traveler's insurance, which would be like health insurance and that kind of thing. Also, they have body expatriation, like they'll pay $250,000 to get your dead body back home to America. Cool. If you get horrifically injured somehow, the insurance company will go ahead and pay for it. Cool. So there's a lot of good things about it. However, the gotcha is if you get injured while driving a motorcycle in a foreign country without a license, they don't pay anything. That means if you get hurt on a motorbike, you're on your own. The insurance doesn't pay out. Which kind of makes sense from their perspective, because let's face it, that is the most dangerous thing you're probably going to do while you're in this country, is driving a motorbike. What's the most likely way you're going to die? It's not cancer. Yeah, it's motorbikes. So, bearing that in mind, technically you need a driver's license, but not really in practice. But don't expect to collect any insurance money if you get hurt. You're on your own. That is kind of a simple answer. But let's see. With regards to insurance, though, I did want to mention a lot of policies, meaning traveler insurance policies, do actually have a motorbike driving illegally rider, as they call it. In other words, let's just say it's $80 for a month, but for an extra $20, they'll also cover you under the circumstances of a motorbike. Likewise, if you want to go scuba diving or rock climbing or something like that, high adventure, kind of stuff, they got a rider for that as well. Muay Thai kickboxing, for example. But it's worth paying the extra money if indeed you care about being insured while you're out here and that kind of thing. And anyway, moving forward, yeah, getting back into the trip part of things, yes. what I did want to say is the ah, great question. Cycling cucumber. Yeah. Actually, that's the thing. Now, I do, to kind of focus on the insurance thing a little bit, since you asked, um, what I can say is absolutely, the hospital is super cheap. Now, here are some examples from my own firsthand experience. One, I actually have been involved in a couple of motorcycle crashes in my day. Number one was in Thailand, where I basically got, oh, I still got a scar or two. Got my arm scraped up and so forth. Um, yeah, it was pretty cheap. In Thailand, to get all fixed up and then a couple of stitches in my hand and stuff like that, I think was about $30 out the door. Sweet. And that's a team of nurses and the whole works. So that was pretty cool. Now, getting injured in Vietnam here. I had one minor crash, and to go in and actually get an X-ray in Vietnam is right around, an X-ray is about $5. Yeah, $90,000. Now, yeah, so let's say $4 then in that case. Yep, it's $4 to get an X-ray. Now, to visit a doctor, that means show the X-ray to the doctor and then have him check out the injuries and that kind of stuff, is about $3. So that's pretty sweet. Yeah, so it's really overall pretty cheap. A broken leg, for example, a simple broken leg and a cast on it, diagnosis, X-ray, the whole works, definitely under $100. Now, it is worth pointing out that along the way, there is a difference between going to the English-speaking hospitals of sorts and sticking around or sticking to that plan only. That is going to be more expensive than a Vietnamese clinic. Of course, they've got different tiers. Now, of course, the international hospital, yes, they speak English. Yes, they're really attentive. Yes, it's super clean. Yes, it's Western standards, etc. And yes, it is more expensive. Go figure. But they do have that tier available for folks that are otherwise interested. For example, if your insurance company is paying for it anyway, what the hell? You might as well. Okay, but going to Vietnamese hospital, these are the prices that, I can otherwise say. Now, to go to Vietnamese hospital, obviously, better speak Vietnamese. And you better know what you're doing. And for that matter, it's worth going with a guide of sorts. Go with a Vietnamese bilingual person, naturally. But otherwise, by the time you're done, the x-rays look the same, and the diagnosis from the doctor is going to be about the same, and that kind of thing. To give you a price example, x-ray and talking to a doctor and broken leg in a Vietnamese hospital would be about $60. International hospital will be about $400. So it's not close in terms of price. It's about 5 times cheaper to go to a Vietnamese place. But again, bear that in mind. So that actually leads me to tip number 3 when it comes to traveling Vietnam by motorcycle or traveling all of Asia. A helmet. A helmet. Okay? Get a really, really, really good helmet. This is not the time to save money. Okay? You only get one face, one brain, one life, and one soul. Limit 1 per customer. If I really think that it's important for folks to think about this idea. Running as fast as you can, head first into a wall. As fast as you can, bang, head first into a wall. What do you want on your head? Humans can only run, 30 kilometers an hour? But you're going 40 to 60 kilometers an hour. In other words, being in a motorcycle crash of some sort is worse than running full speed headfirst into a wall. What do you want on your head? Get an extremely comfortable helmet. Now, and yes, comfortable, because we found this out with Long Dong, among other people. When you got a helmet like cutting into the top of your head or cutting into the back of your head, that's cool for 20 minutes or an hour. But when you're on a bike for 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, day after day, all of a sudden your helmet matters a lot. Because if it's not comfortable, it kind of ruins your trip a bit. Along the way, we could also say that you're not going to want to wear it. Or let's just say it cuts off circulation to your ears or whatever the hell. Get a really good helmet. Full face. I recommend full chin. Have a shield option, that kind of thing. And yeah, spending like $100 on a helmet, it sounds weird. I could buy a motorcycle for $100. I can buy a motorcycle for $200. You telling me I spent $100 on a helmet? Yes, yes. Not the time to save money, bro. But yes, and the other big second reason is, what do you want in your skull when your skull hits the earth? Get something nice. Wear something nice. You're gonna need it. Now, helmets get stolen more than motorbikes do, ironically enough. Stealing a motorbike is kind of tricky, but stealing a helmet is super easy. So if you do have $100 helmet, don't just place it on your motorbike and walk away for a day, because what happens next? It won't be there. So when you do get a good helmet and you do get everything sorted out, take good care of it. Bring it in with you. Bring it into the coffee shop. Bring it into your hotel. Sleep with it. Do whatever you got to do. But get a really, really, really good helmet. And if you get in a motorbike accident and you scrape your arm, you lose a leg, you break your leg, or whatever the case is, that's cool. Your quality of life won't change very much in the long run. Now, if you scrape your face off, yeah, that sucks a lot. Yeah, and having a huge scar on your face or your nose ripped off, your quality of life will change quite a bit. Quite a bit. And for that matter, it's important to eat your vegetables. Don't become one. You know, and yes, I have met one gentleman in Baulog. Yep, father of three. Went out partying one night. And he had on a helmet, but he didn't clip the bottom of it. Yep, drove home drunk and was involved in an accident. Yep, opened up his skull. Yep, and he wasn't a vegetable, but he wasn't mentally further than a dog. Effectively, his wife divorced him, and he had to move in with his mother. And now his mother effectively has to take care of all three kids and him. And all he can do is lay in bed, moan, and eat. Motorcycle accident, didn't have a good helmet. If he would have had a good helmet, he would have been fine. Get a good helmet. You need it. You need it. Okay? Don't die. Now, along the way, next big tip. Okay. Yeah, Nicholas, good question. There's two kinds of drivers. Okay, there's a motorbike driver where you get in the back of a motorcycle and they guide you around and you do a full tour of the area. Great way to go. To answer your question, you're talking about roughly $60. You know, it might be 55, might be 70, but it's about $60. Now, you could get a private car and a private driver. Meaning like a taxi cab or a car or whatever, you know, like you would expect. And same thing, they're able to show you the Haibon Pass, let's just say, go to the Elephant Springs if you want to, among other things. And it's going to cost about the same. It's going to be roughly $60. And it is a really nice way to go. I do recommend spending that money versus, let's just say, taking a bus. You could take a bus for about $6, just so you know, to give you a price comparison. A train ticket, likewise, is about $5-6. So, yeah, you're sitting pretty good with that. Now, the advantage of having a driver, one is if you're traveling with more than one person, all of a sudden the cost is a little bit, it's mitigated, I guess I could say. In other words, if you're traveling with 5 people and it's $50, oh, okay, well, now you're talking. But yeah, the photo ops and stuff like that, yep. There's a lot of tremendous photo ops, and in between Hue and Da Nang is like some of the most beautiful stretch of country in Asia. It's awesome. So yeah, I think it's a good time to spend the money and do something right. The other advantage is doorstop to doorstop. In other words, whatever hotel you're at in Da Nang, yep, they pick you up at your door. You shake hands and make friends with the driver, motorbike or taxi. And then in a way, they drop you off exactly where you want. Get food along the way, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's about what you're talking. You know, it's roughly $60. Worth it. I highly recommend it. And actually, I've done it already. And I've done the motorcycle adventure and train and bus. I guess I've done it all. But if you want a comfortable ride, yep. All right, big boy there, Nicholas. Good to hear. Yeah. Car it is then. Oh yeah, you'll love it. Yeah, and these drivers are good people, generally speaking. So yeah, it's a good way to go. So in that case, yeah, there, Nicholas. Yeah, I think motorbiking would be kind of a. You could do it just fine, actually, if you really wanted to. You know, but if you're just talking quick trips, though, yeah, again, going by car is a great route. Great route. So, now, related to kind of go back to the motorbike situation, I was going to say another key tip is bring some tools with you. Bring some tools. I do have a tools list, but you don't need much. I mean, like a needle nose pliers. And there's only like 2 or 3 bolts sizes that you really got to mess with. So yeah, bringing that and one of them T-bars, you know, where you can take in and out spark plugs or whatever the case is. Yep. Zip ties, you're gonna need them. Gas tank repair kit, gonna need it. Things like that. You can actually pile together a list of stuff for pretty cheap. I mean, 20, 30 bucks and you're good to go. Tops. Probably more like 10 bucks now that I'm thinking about it. But still, having just some basic tools will go a long way. A long way. All right, next tip. Whenever you buy a bike in Vietnam, make a point to get it all checked over by a professional mechanic before you leave. What that means is, let's say you buy a bike in Saigon and then drive to Hanoi, or buy a bike in Hanoi and then drive to Saigon. Bring it into a mechanic, swap out the oil, for sure. I don't care what the seller told you. I just changed it. Shut up. Change the oil, change the chain, change whatever needs to be changed. Mirrors, put them on. Does the gas gauge work? Check it out. Swap out all the bulbs. Do everything that you can imagine, that you can think of, that you can change. The battery, change it. Because having a breakdown inside of a major city while you're sitting there at a mechanic with plenty of time to spare is great timing. In contrast, breaking down on the peak of a mountain in the middle of goddamn nowhere when you're like 40 kilometers away from the nearest mechanic, yeah, that sucks. Don't do that. And actually, it's cheaper to pay for all this stuff before you leave than it is to do it in an emergency situation when you break down on the road. So, bottom line, swap out all that you can along the way as quickly or as soon as possible, you know, prior to departure. It is money well invested. Checking over your bike and getting things swapped out. This is not the time to save money. Okay? It's not the time to save money. Spend 40, 50 bucks and get stuff done right as you're departing. Next, while we're at it, when you buy a bike, make a point to, I think, drive it around for a few days. With that, so, for example, if you buy a bike in Saigon, and let's just say a new bike can range in price. A cheap one, on the low end, 100 bucks. You can get a bike. Oh yeah, it can be done. Typical prices are in the neighborhood of 250 bucks. That's very typical. Very, very typical. You can get a very fine bike for 250. And yes, there are some people that have motorcycles in the world of like $500-600. I think you're spending way too much, for something like that. But it could be done. It could be done, and you will find that around. With regards to buying a bike, I recommend getting one that's common. Now, out here in Vietnam, Honda Win 100s are super common. Now, what that means is they're easy to buy, easy to sell, easy to find, but most importantly, easy to service. Easy to service. What that means is um, a Honda Win 100, the parts are easy to find. Every mechanic you swing that into has got a brake cable sitting right there. Got brake pads right there. You need to swap a tire? Every mechanic in the country has got a tire. Now, if you were to buy, let's just say, a Harley Davidson, okay, I mean, that sounds cool on the surface and all, but you can't even change your oil while you're traveling, let alone get an air filter? Ha! Oh, you need a new chain? Ha! Yeah, in other words, by buying a unique bike that no one has the parts for, yeah, you're really screwing yourself over. So that's a pretty big issue. Now, Honda Win 100s are a great example of a bike that, yes, is super common, but also is powerful enough to make it up and down the mountains, despite only being 100 cc's, and is pretty decent size. Actually, I'll type this in and you can check it on Google Images if you'd like. No. There we go. Yeah, and you can see the pictures for yourself, but a Honda Win 100 is what you would mentally consider a motorcycle. So yeah, it'll do the job. Now, if you were to get, let's say, a Yamaha 100, automatic let's just say, that won't do the job when it comes to climbing the mountains. My buddy Long Dong, for example, yeah, bless his heart, he's going up the mountain at about 10 kilometers an hour. You can do it, and it will get you around, and it will get you there, but it's not enough machine for what you really need. Now, you're also going to see a lot of Honda Waves, and a few other brands of Honda. Now, semi-automatics are fairly common, and I did want to mention, if you want to find the most robust and most hardcore or longest lasting bike out there, yeah, a Honda Wave. Yeah, they actually did a drop test where they dropped a Honda Wave off a building, shaklang, onto the concrete, stood it back up, and it started. Okay? Yeah, they do the job. Now, when you're talking about, let's say a Honda Wave, a good one, yeah, it's going to be $300 plus. But a Honda Wave semi-auto, yeah, that'll definitely do the job. That'll get you from point A to B, no problem. Now, also, when it comes to buying and selling bikes, there's a lot of places to do so. Option one is to go into an actual motorcycle shop, of course run by Vietnamese people, go figure, where they offer them for sale. In general, that's a decent plan. Now, you're going to pay more. And yes, there's going to be a white man tax, so to speak. English speaking only tax. Yep. But often, for example, it might cost let's say $400 or $500 to get a motorcycle from a shop. But more often than not, it can be a pretty good deal, and they, generally speaking, are of high quality and so forth. So yeah, it's a great choice. Option two, looking online. There's a lot of forums in Saigon, Hanoi, Da Nang, and in Hue related to motorcycles. So that means travelers who are buying and selling and so forth are going to be posting ads on there, of course, with their phone number, among other things, And it'd be like Craigslist, so you got a picture and a price and that kind of thing. That's cool. You can find some pretty good deals, if you look around, especially if you've got time on your side. Now, option three is a lot of people in Saigon and Hanoi, among other places, will actually print out on paper a flyer and then put that up in hostels and hotels. Cool. Matter of fact, Marvel Hostel in Saigon, as an example, on average has somewhere between 3 to 8 posters there every day that are or motorcycles that are actively being sold. That's cool. And along the way, you can pretty well just sit in a bar, look at those, send some WhatsApp messages or Facebook or whatever, Zalo or whatever the case is. Yeah, and chances are they'll swing by and meet you at the bar and actually bring the motorcycle to the bar. Sweet. That's a good way to go. That's a very good way to go. But normally in the major cities, buying and selling is pretty easy. In fact, there's a lot of people that will physically walk around the streets with a sign. I have this bike, this price, and then wave the sign and hold it up to people. What I'm getting at is if you were to just sit in a bar on the side of a street on a long enough timeline, within a day, you'll probably see about 10 motorbikes for sale that'll just fall into your lap. So yeah, again, it's a great way to go. Now, when it comes to buying, one thing I did want to point out is convenience of money. Oh, Mr. Qualls, good to see you, buddy. It's been a minute. All right. I miss you, buddy. Yeah. Well, either way, buying and selling. Convenience. Now, here's a fun secret. Gold stores. Gold stores. Now, in Vietnam, gold stores actually do, converting money. Dollars to dong, dong to dollars. Example. When a lot of people are selling their bike, chances are they're immediately about to leave the country. For example, return to Australia, return to America, or Russia, or whatever the case is. Well, I'm telling you, if they want to sell a bike for $200, let's just say, but you tell them, oh, I have 4.5 million dong. Well, that's cool, but the 4.5 million dong is worthless in, yep, you got it. 4.5 million dong is worthless in America or in Australia. I mean, or if you do try to exchange it in Australia or America, you're going to just get dicked on the exchange rate. I'm telling you. Wells Fargo in America, they don't want dong. But in contrast, when a person is leaving, I just ask, what currency do you want it? Do you want euros, Australian dollars, or American dollars? Typically, American dollars does the job. But yeah, go to a gold store, and they'll give you the best rate, better than a bank, and they don't need an ID. Perfect. And you get nice, clean, fresh, crisp bills. Perfect. A lot of people don't know that, but yeah, it goes a long ways. So I can actually buy a motorcycle cheaper by exchanging it into dollars first and then handing them American dollars than if I were to pay in the equivalent amount of Vietnamese dong. Cool. While we're on the topic, when it comes to, just keeping this charged, when it comes to selling a motorbike, I've sold a lot of motorbikes. Now, if I am flexible with payment options, for example, I can take credit card via PayPal. Yeah. I can take dong, I can take dollars, I can take euros, I can take damn, Indian rupees if that's what it took. Cool. There's a lot of people who want to buy a motorbike, but to buy it is rather inconvenient, meaning for them to go to a ATM and try to withdraw the equivalent of, let's say, 5 million dong or $500, let's just say. Well, there's an ATM limit, first of all, and the ATM fees, second of all, and then they get dicked on the exchange coming in, third of all, and maybe this will take them 4 or 5 days to withdraw the money via an ATM, maxing it out every single time. Yeah, but if they could just swipe their credit card, yeah, they'll pay way more. Hell, there's a lot of folks that money's no object. They'll pay an extra $100 if they can pay by credit card. Yeah. So when you're selling, make it as convenient as possible for the buyer to give you money. Perfect example of this. While I was sitting there in Saigon, I wanted to buy a motorbike, and I saw a woman who swung in who was 1 hour away from getting on her bus and leaving the country forever and going ultimately back to Australia in her case. Sweet. She wanted $300 for a motorbike, but time. Oh, and you want it in dollars, don't you? Well, I have a nice, clean, crisp $100 bill sitting right here on the table. And then I keep drinking beer. Yeah. So if you want to get on that bus in, well, not an hour, 45 minutes, you go right ahead. If you want to go there empty-handed, great. But if you want to take this $100 sitting on the table right now and then give me the keys to your motorbike, let's do it. Yeah. Got a bike for $100. But I'm sitting here in Hue City. Someone needed a motorbike from England, just showed up and wanted to buy one, etc., etc., etc. Oh, and I take credit card. Yeah, and I ended up selling it for $350 because I take credit card. Same bike. Bought it for $100, sold it for $350. Because I make buying convenient and I make selling convenient. So it sounds like a small deal, but I think it's a huge deal. Now, also, when it comes to buying and selling, I did want to say too, if you're super skeptical to everybody and you doubt pretty much what everybody says, for example, I just changed the oil. I just changed out this part, that part. This bike will give you no troubles at all. You can travel the country, no issues, nothing's going to break down, you're not going to have a... Skeptical. Don't believe them. Don't believe them. It's going to break down, probably. Swap out everything you can, probably. And kind of go from there. Now, also, when it comes to crossing the country, huge tip for everybody. SIM cards, okay? I'm going to say it, and I'm going to write it. SIM cards, okay? You need a SIM. It angers me when people travel this country without a SIM card. It angers me. Usually it's those super smart people who think that they're smarter than the system. We're like, oh, they got Wi-Fi along the way. I'll just use the free Wi-Fi at coffee shop. Shut up. No. Get a SIM card. By the way, it is about 90,000 dong, okay? 90,000 dong for effectively infinite data for 2 months. It's totally worth it. Then Google Maps works. Perfect. If you have it traveling with a group of people, you can communicate really easily with everybody. Perfect. And if you need Google Translate, got it. There's a heck of a lot of advantages as far as that goes. Getting data is cheap and easy in Vietnam. Traveling without it makes things tremendously inconvenient. Now, a good example of this exact situation would be a discussion that I had with a couple of gentlemen from England, a group of 4 dudes. They were about to depart on a trip across the country, which is, let's just say, like a 3-week trip or something like that. But they were leaving with no data. And I was just like, guys, facepalm, guys, okay, what are you going to do when one of you guys gets lost? Oh, I mean, are you going to what? Send you guys look that way, you guys look that way, you go down that road, and then you wait right here. Okay, we're going to go and look that way. Nobody has data, no one can talk to anybody, and everyone's searching for each other. Yeah, that's your plan? That's as far as you thought into this? Come on. But inevitably, a lot of these folks are also going to say, oh, we just won't get lost, Brad. Oh, we'll just get Wi-Fi along the way, Brad. Yes, you will get lost. No, there won't be Wi-Fi. No, you're going to have an extraordinarily difficult time. In contrast, if all 5 of you or all 4 of you all have SIM cards and you create one Facebook group, share live location. Yeah, let's meet up here tonight, boys. Yeah, live directions. Yeah, everything that you need to make your trip otherwise convenient is all there. So having a SIM card it sounds like a small thing, but game changer, game changer. Yeah, and again goes a very, very, very long ways. Um, and Also, if we were to bear in mind that phones on a long enough timeline will get lost, broken, or stolen. If you've got that in your mind from the beginning of your trip, you're looking at things more realistically than if you were to think, oh, I'll never lose my phone. I'll never lose anything. I'm not going to have any issues of any kind. So, ways to mitigate that. One, whatever you got on your phone, back it up. Either back it up to the iCloud, back it up to Google Photos, back up your phone before you leave. Okay? Don't have anything precious on there. Next, if you've got like Bitcoin or access to your bank or PayPal or whatever the case is, assume that your phone is going to get stolen and someone else is going to like open it up and get to work on it. Okay? In other words, put a password on your bank account, put a password on your Bitcoin account or whatever the case is. Assume that someone might get your phone, and if they get your phone and you lose a phone, you can get over it. But if they get your bank account and they get all your goods, now you got more of an issue. So be very careful about that. Next, with regards to your phone, you can set it up to do automatic backups overnight. For example, if your phone is plugged in and you're connected to Wi-Fi, it'll back up all of your photos in Google Photos. Yeah. I one time lost like 300 photos, basically 2 weeks worth of photos, simply because I didn't back it up. And I didn't set up the automatic backups and that kind of thing. So yeah, that'll go very, very long ways. Very, very long ways. Next, with regards to your phone, yeah, be as careful as possible. Be as careful as possible. If you can attach a lanyard to it somehow, do it. Put a special case on it and put a string, do it. Have one special slot inside of your backpack or fag bag that you keep it in, do it. Be as careful as possible everywhere you go. Don't just put it in your pocket and assume that it's going to be there in the next morning. It won't. On a long enough timeline. Next, with regards to phones. Maybe think about having a secondary phone, which is to say, have your main $800 iPhone, sure, but keep that at the hotel, keep it in your bag, keep it for those times that you need it. But when you're putting something right on the dash of your motorcycle or traveling around throughout the evening, think about spending $50 and buying a travel phone, a temp phone, a cheap smartphone that you can get at the store. If you lose that, you don't lose your main baby. And you can get over losing a $50 phone a lot easier than you can get over losing a $100 phone. So think about it that way. Next, with regards to phones and traveling, have an ability to communicate with home that doesn't include your phone number. Another way of saying this is, for example, I had a Verizon phone number, which works in America, and anyone can call that number. Great, 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 great. But it doesn't work in Vietnam, which is to say, if somebody were to call that phone number, my phone won't ring. Okay? What that means is, too, I have to get a Vietnamese SIM card that works in Vietnam. So my ability to accept phone calls from America to my American phone number, let alone my ability to make phone calls from my American phone number, doesn't exist. So in contrast, if I've got WhatsApp or Zalo or Viber or Facebook Messenger or Google Hangouts or, in my case, a Google Voice number, works great. So I can communicate with everybody while I'm sitting here in Vietnam perfectly, and it costs me nothing, and I can do everything purely off of data. Awesome. That's sweet. That is super sweet. Now, okay, so to go a little bit broader, when it comes to, again, traveling across the country and so forth, SIM card is a big one. Communication is a big one. But another big tip is travel with a group. Travel with a buddy. Traveling alone is very doable. It's very doable. But if you get stuck, if you get hurt, your motorbike breaks down, or your motorbike dies and it's a walk away, there's a heck of a lot of potentially tough situations that you can run into. In that case, if you had a buddy with you, a secondary bike, you're doing awesome. So, two people traveling together with two separate bikes is easy to line up and advisable. Now, if you planned on traveling across the country with some friends to begin with, great. If not, you can certainly meet a handful of good people while you are traveling, which is to say, you can go to a hostel, for example, and you're inevitably going to find some folks that are going to be traveling across the country too, and just have some drinks and say, hey, can I roll with you? You guys heading north too? Great, let's do it. Yeah, what the heck? Make a couple friends, have someone to drink coffee with, and someone to watch your back and so forth. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to a group of two, excellent. Three, yep. Four, yep. Five, you're pushing it. A group of eight, group of 10, no. You don't want too big of a group for a few reasons. One big reason is decision making takes a lot longer because you need all 10 people, let's just say, to all agree to a plan. That's tough. Let alone communicating that all through 10 people is tough. If you're a group of four, you can all share one table and talk about whatever you want to talk about, and that goes a long ways. Hmm? No, and also when it comes to a group, get all the same motorbike. What that means is, if you're going with a group of four people, all get Honda Win 100s. Or all get Honda Waves. Cool. If two of you have Honda Win 100s and one has got a Harley Davidson and another person has got a, let's just say, a Yamaha Nuvo 100, well, your pacing is going to be totally off. Like climbing a mountain, for example, is completely at different paces. Driving down the road, you're going to be at different speeds. You have different abilities. Maybe this bike can travel off-road and this one can't. Well, you're traveling in a group. So if you all have the same exact bike, you travel at the same pace, you can go to the same places, etc. Along the way. All the parts are interchangeable, which is to say, like if you all have Honda Win 100s, all brake cables work on all bikes. All tires work on all bikes. All chains are interchangeable. All tools work on all bikes. So actually, it's a heck of a lot easier to maintain and to help each other out if you all have interchangeable parts and all have the same type. So yeah, traveling with a group is a good thing, but it can be a disaster if, again, you have different types of bikes, or the group is too big, or you don't have an ability to communicate with each other. Also, when it comes to traveling with a group, one strong tip is when you're making plans, take advantage of this group effect. For example, if everybody has a Facebook group, when you wake up in the morning and let's just say, you're like, okay, we got to get to Quang Ngai, Vietnam. Okay. Well, if you all wake up in the morning and you all pick one location and you all pin it before you leave, terrific. That means if you guys get split up along the way, which is going to happen, you're fine. When you get to Quang Ngai, you don't have to try to rush around and communicate with each other. Where's everybody at? You got to figure it out already. And when you give each other ETA, like I'll be there at 7, I'll be there at 5, or whatever the case is, it's easy. Your life is easy if you've got a shared group and you share your plans with one another right out the gate. Yeah, it just takes the stress out of it. It really does. If someone gets hung up or has a breakdown, no worries. You're set. Now, moving forward, another big tip when you are traveling with a group, don't always think that major cities are the landmark. Another way of saying this same thing is a lot of people We're going to spend one night in Nha Trang, one night in Quang An, one night in Da Nang. Hey, these are all great cities, and they're all a great plan. But you don't have to meet up in a major city. Actually, you might find if you all meet up in a smaller city, let's say not even a city, just a village on the side of the road, that could be just as fun. So, if you are driving along and you do see like a guest house, right there at the side of the road, perfect. Don't be afraid to just stay there for an evening and whatnot. Chances are you might have more fun in a small village than you would in a major city. So, yeah, don't be afraid of small towns. Okay, next tip when it comes to traveling across the country: sunscreen and a mask and clothing and rain gear. Okay? A lot of people, including me, forget that there is a sun and that human skin, especially white skin, burns. It doesn't feel hot when you're out there, but I tell you what, after 8 hours of being on a motorbike, it will burn your face off and burn your arms off. And it sucks if day one you get sunburned. It really sucks. So plan ahead as far as you can. My buddy Long Dong, for example, never gets burned because he's completely covered in sunscreen. His sunscreen on his face is so thick his face is white. So be it. It works. You will get burned if you're not careful. Now, along the way, why do people wear masks and goggles and stuff like that? Well, it doesn't make sense when you're driving around for 5-10 minutes. But when you're on the road for multiple hours in a row, there's like a road grime. It's kind of like a grime. It's like an oily, dirty mix. And it gets on your skin. And it gets on your face. It gets in your eyes. It gets everywhere. That's cool. It won't kill you. But man, if you're wearing a mask and goggles or have the face shield and stuff like that, you're doing great. If you don't, at the end of the day, again, you're going to have this grime on your hands and face and skin, and you got to wash all that magic off. And it's pretty rough. If you're wearing a white tuxedo, for example, and you drive for a whole day on the roads of Vietnam, it's not going to be white when you get to the end of it. Think about it that way. So yeah, planning ahead by, yes, having even a cheap mask and cheap sunglasses at the very minimum will go a very, very, very long ways. While we're on the topic, it is also true right about sunset. Somewhere between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., the mosquitoes come out. So if you don't have a mask and you don't have goggles, and you're going down the road with your mouth open, what happens next? You get a free meal. That kind of sucks. If you got a mask on, then you just feel them kind of bounce off your mask and you're good to go. So yeah, plan ahead as far as you can. Now, there is rain that randomly comes out. Go figure, we're sitting in a tropical country. And in some cases, folks are traveling through in December, which is the rainy season. The odds of having rain are pretty high. And do you need rain gear? No, of course not. But, man, spending $10 or $5 to have a really nice raincoat, it's probably a pretty good investment. You could not drive whatsoever in the rain if you wanted to, and you'd be fine that way too. But gosh, darn it, having a really good raincoat goes a long, long ways. Next, traveling through the mountains. For example, Dalat, Nha Trang. I went to Dalat in December. And I got all the way to the top of the mountain wearing a shirt like this, and it was cold. In Celsius, it was under 20, so what, maybe 13 degrees or something like that. And I was surprised as I climbed the mountain. But why would I be surprised? Well, I mean, again, it's high altitude kind of stuff and December and whatever. I didn't plan ahead for that at all. I didn't have a jacket. I didn't have a sweater. I had nothing. Man, and I felt like an idiot. Look, having some long sleeve shirts at minimum, having some basic supplies at minimum will go a really long ways, and you'll be a heck of a lot more comfortable as your traveler. And, okay, cool. Next. Having a guide throughout a motorbike trip. Having a guide is an expensive option. Okay, what that means is, let's just say it's about $100 a day. It might be $50 a day, somewhere in there, to have a guide go with you for your motorbike trip. It's worth it. If you got the money, and especially if it's your first time going across the country, if you've got the money, it's really, really worth it. Motorcycle breakdowns, got it. Buying and selling bikes, got it. Great place to check out along the way, got it. What about having a translator? Got it. You're gonna find the best price on buying and selling bikes, best price on food, best price on accommodations, best price on effectively everything if you've got a guide. Also, the safeties aspect. If you get injured, God forbid, or you get into a crash of some kind, God forbid, you got a guy that can take care of you, bring you to the hospital, arrange everything, take care of your broken motorcycle. What all the miscellaneous issues that you would otherwise run into are handled. So it's considerably safer to have somebody traveling with you that can, again, act as a guide and as insurance, so to speak. Also, I've traveled across the country a lot myself, and I have actually taken a guide before. To my own amazement, around my hometown of Hue here, bringing the guide showed me a lot of stuff I didn't even know. Talked about the history of the place that I had no idea, and I've been living here for years. So yeah, you learn a lot of cool stuff by having a guide. The sort of stuff that you would never figure out on your own. There's no way you could Google it or know it up front. So by having a guide, your whole trip becomes richer because you've got the background, or you get the history, or you get a deeper overview or details that you wouldn't normally have. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. Now, some folks, what they do, if it's a group of 4 people, hire a 5th person as a guide. So now it's a group of 5. Perfect. Then it obviously becomes cheaper because you can obviously cut the price. Let's say $100 instead of $100. It's 25. Let's just say, worth it. Totally worth it. Hell, you're sitting around at night and you want another case of beer. He'll go get it for you. Sure. You know, you need food ordered. He'll get it for you. Yeah. You name it. Oil changes on the side of the road. He'll do them for free. You know, that kind of thing. So yeah, having a guide is a really smart decision. Extremely smart decision. Now, they do offer fully guided trips across the country. And yes, they do have guided trips between Hue and Da Nang. And yes, when it comes to having a guided situation, it's highly customizable. So that means on one end of the gamut, there are folks who want to do zero driving and sit on the back of a motorbike and have the guide do all the driving, all the planning, all the fueling up, all the details. You can do it. There's other people who just want to have another guy riding with them and tell them the history and handle the small stuff. You can do it. There's other people that maybe they want to do most of the trip themselves, but just have a guide in between this city and this city only, or just get them by the day. Cool. So I just want to be very clear that it's highly customizable to have a guided trip. There's a lot of shapes and sizes and options. If you were to look around online, you're going to find a lot of these options. And I'd be happy to help out, you know, if you have any questions as far as that goes too. Now, also, related to guides, trying to do this whole trip with no guide, no experience, never been across the country before, never been to Vietnam before, you don't know about motorcycle repair, you don't know how to diagnose an engine, you don't even know what kind of oil it takes, you don't even know what the tire sizes mean, and you speak zero Vietnamese, and you have no SIM card of any kind, no map, and this is a nightmare, folks. This is a shit plan. It's a shit plan. So try to mitigate as many of these as you can. Try to get motorcycle experience before you go. Try to at least learn about motorcycles before you go. Try to meet people along the way that have already done it. Travel with folks that are currently moving. Hire a guide. Sit there with a motorcycle mechanic and watch him break down the bike and watch him repair it and kind of get an idea. Learn how to check your own oil. Stuff like that. Don't walk in as a total rookie, knowing nothing, and just hope that everything works out well. It might, but it might not. Now, in my own experience, yes, I actually traveled across the country myself the first time with the whole list of stuff, not knowing what oil checks, total beginner, no map, no data. I did this. It can be done. It can be done. But I've got 10 years of driving across the country experience, and I'm a human GPS, and I speak Vietnamese, and I've been traveling for the last 20 years. So I have a lot of tools in the tool chest that average people don't have. An average person, this would be a disaster. So when you're planning a trip, try to mitigate the risk as much as possible. Try to learn as much as possible about making this all happen. And yes, I do recommend having a guide, even if it's not for the full 3 weeks. What about for the first 5 days? What the hell? You know, and just see what happens with that. And if you like them, I'm sure they'll stick around. But if you learn the basics with them, great. But that'll go a really, 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 really long ways. Really long ways. Yeah. Now, next tip. Where to stay? Where to stay along the way? Well, I recommend guest houses. Nyanyi. There we go. Nyanyi. Yeah, they're pretty much everywhere. You'll find them all over hell. And one way or another, they're traditionally speaking your cheapest bet. To give you an idea, they're normally somewhere between $200,000 to $300,000, which works out to be somewhere between $8 and $13. So that's pretty cool. The price is right. But along the way, they'll take good care of you. You're going to be comfortable and all that. But most importantly, they're everywhere. Yeah. A lot of cases, they don't have TripAdvisor reviews. They don't have online reviews or anything like that. They're just a mom and pop shop. Cool. Don't be afraid of staying at guest houses. A lot of people, including myself, have done that across the entire country, and it was great. You don't necessarily have to go to hostels every time, resorts every time, or the highest rated hotel on TripAdvisor every time. Swing for the fences. Have an open mind. Yeah, that'll go a really, really long ways. Also, don't be afraid of having a lot of spare time and spare days and being ultra flexible with your plans. For example, instead of saying, all right, today Nha Trang, tomorrow Quang Ngai, and then the next day Da Nang. Instead of planning it that way, just saying, over the next 5 days we want to get to Da Nang somehow. If we see something that looks cool, we'll just stop there. That's kind of neat. In fact, you might even run across like a tiny village that's on a beach. And they have a hotel that's $8 a night on the beach with hammocks on the beach. Stop there. Maybe you planned on driving until 7 p.m. tonight, and it's only 2 in the afternoon. But what the hell? This looks kind of nice. Let's just stay here. Cool. Be flexible. Be flexible. Yeah. Just let yourself stay wherever the wind takes you. That's part of the fun of being able to travel across the country in the first place, is this whole open-minded cruise thing. So yeah, it's a great way to roll if you can. So yeah, Nyanyi, or also homestays. Well, you know how to spell homestay, but regardless, there's a lot of homestays that have been popping up lately here in Vietnam. This is also a tremendous way of going about it. You got a family that can take care of you. In some cases, you can repair your bike right there. Maybe they'll guide you around the city. Maybe they'll make breakfast for you. Who knows? But there's a lot of possible things that can happen at a homestay that would never happen at a normal hotel. So, a guest house, yani, and a homestay are often your cheapest option, most fun, and you get the best food, sometimes free food. That's cool. Yeah, among other things, and definitely trump the hostel experience. Now, in contrast, staying at a hostel does have its advantages. So, a great example of an advantage of staying at a hostel is chances are you're going to meet other people who are also motorbiking across the country. So, yeah, you got people to travel with in a lot of cases. Maybe you're heading north and they're heading south. Well, they could tell you about the city along the way, or cities, or the hot spots that they've found along the way. Cool. In a lot of cases, they also speak English. In most cases, they like drinking beer. So you got people to kick it with, hang out with, and folks to talk shop with, talk motorbikes with, and travel with, and that kind of thing. Every time I've gone across the country, I've stayed at least in a few hostels, and almost every time I got somebody to travel with. One of my best buddies, Stiff Weasel, met him at a hostel. Yep, and we traveled across the country together pretty much the whole way. And 5 years later, we're still best friends. So yeah, that only happened because I went to a hostel. So it is a smart move for some people, in some cases, to stay at a few hostels along the way and just see what you got. Especially in Saigon and Hanoi, because again, that's motorbike buy and sell world, you know, and that kind of thing. So yeah, consider that as a strong option. What not to do is go to your typical resort that you see, again, on TripAdvisor or whatever. That's bottom of the list, you know, kind of thing. Can it be done? Yeah, but you're probably not going to enjoy it as much. And you're probably not going to meet fellow travelers. And it probably won't help you on your journey. You probably won't enjoy it more. And it will be more expensive. So, again, related to accommodations, yeah. Guest houses, homestays, hostels. You'll make it work. Next, I did want to say, when it comes to making this kind of trip, photos and videos. Photos and videos. This is the most scenic country I've ever been to in my life. Okay, you're going to take a lot of photos and take a lot of videos. Now, a couple ideas for you. Number one, if you get one of those hand clamped things that clamp onto a phone and so forth, and you want to have that on your motorbike, for example, you want to be able to have your phone available so you can not only get maps and so forth, but you know, in directions, or perhaps listen to music or whatever the case is. Great. But also, a lot of people want to take videos while they're motorbiking. Sure, and that's a great option too. Whether you have a GoPro or a smartphone, in both cases, if you get one of them clampy things and then wrap it around the bar and put that in the front of your bike while you're driving, great choice. You're going to get a lot of awesome footage. Now, next tip, they've got something, slow time lapse. There it is. Doing a time lapse video while you're driving looks really cool. That means on iPhones in particular, you set that up on the front of your bike, and then, yeah, you record a video, let's say that's half an hour, and it will condense it down to, let's say, 1 minute, and then it'll be time-lapse, so it'll be super fast. Cool, cool. That's a great way to do it. Excellent way to do it. Next, whatever you've got, however you want to secure your phone to your motorbike and so forth, always have a lanyard. Have a lanyard. Either attach the phone to your motorbike, or attach the phone to you, or you in your bag, whatever you want to do it. Attach the phone somehow to your motorbike. Someone could snatch it, your GoPro or your phone could snatch it off of your bike pretty quickly and pretty easily. More to the point, what if you go over a bump and your phone, hops out of the clip thing and then falls off a cliff? It can happen. But if you got a lanyard, all problems are solved all at once. So no matter what, where your phone, GoPro, camera, whatever you got, secure it somehow. Do some thinking. Usually for $1, you can find some kind of solution that'll go a long ways for you. Next, again, back up your photos and off of your GoPro or back up your phone daily. Okay? The odds are you're going to lose something along the way, or some issue is going to happen along the way. But if you can have daily backups, at least you don't lose your data. So be as smart as you can about that. Next, when it comes to, phones and data, not only careful with all that magic, but careful with your data, careful with the item itself. Don't get stolen. Yeah, that pretty much ticks all the boxes. Yeah. Be smart. That's all. Be smart. Oh, I was going to say, things like this. This is on the pack list. Having a backup portable battery. You're going to need it. I can tell you right away that a normal phone on all day doesn't last that long. An iPhone, in my case, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours tops, certainly not 6. But you're going to need it. Now, to assume that you can just plug in your phone and charge it at a coffee shop, for example, is partially true. But man, if you just spend $30 and you get a portable battery and you got that with you, oh man, it solves all problems at once. It really does. So along the way, if you are going to put your phone on your motorbike, also have a means of transporting a battery and connecting it and charging it along the way. A solid solution for that is to have a fag bag, like this. In my own case, I've got a battery in there along with my cord hanging out, so I can actually charge my phone while it's in my bag. Or I can be driving down the road with my my phone on my motorbike and plug her right in, good to go. I got everything from XM radio to music to YouTube, maps, you name it, all smiling. So yeah, having a backup battery, pre-charged, ready to rock, goes a really long ways. Also, when we were talking about the pack list, I'm going to, once again, send this link right here. Right here. This is the pack list. Now, one item on here that seems a little weird is a sleeping bag. Or sleeping bag. Or sleep sack, in fact. Why would that be on there? Well, look. Guest houses are dirty. Just saying. Everywhere you sleep is going to be sort of dirty. In fact, in a lot of guest houses, there's not even sheets on the beds. So the naked person who just got done banging last night on this bed, they didn't change the sheets or wash it necessarily. So it's kind of gross, really. You don't want to blacklight a lot of them rooms. Now, if you've got yourself a sleep sack, effectively, it's like a sleeping bag, and so you're inside of your own sleeping bag no matter where you're sleeping. So you don't have to touch any of the pillows or sheets or bed with your physical body. It's a lot cleaner. So sleep sack goes a long ways in terms of just raw sanitation. But along the way, this is one secret you wouldn't know until you travel out here: mosquitoes. Open windows, especially, no matter where you are in the country, no matter what time of the year, there are mosquitoes out here. And if you are just effectively naked, spread eagle on a bed, you're going to get eaten up pretty bad. In fact, some people even get allergic reactions, and their entire legs are covered in mosquito bites. It sucks. But if you got a sleep sack, problem solved. Problem solved. They can't bite through that. So by being in a sleep sack, effectively everything except for your face is covered. So mosquitoes are much less of an issue. Between a sleep sack and a fan going on, you don't got anything to worry about, in terms of mosquitoes. So, yeah, that's a really wise move. And along the way, a sleep sack is tiny. It's smaller than this. It's about half the size of this. It's like the size of a deck of cards. Bring it. And it weighs like 2 ounces or something ridiculous. Also, sleep sack, it's not the time to save money. You can get a cheap one for $20, or you can get top of the line, ultra expensive silk for $50. Spend the 50 and be done with it. Yeah. What happens if you're sharing a bed with a dude? I mean, it's bound to happen at some time or another. In my own case, I've shared a bed a handful of times, but if we each have our own independent sleeping sack, it's less gay, so somehow. Anyway. And when you got a sleep sack, you can sleep pretty well anywhere. Sleep on a bench, sleep on the floor, sleep at not only a guest house, sleep anywhere. A heck of a lot easier. And so you got this little touch of comfort. There are quite a few people that are unable to sleep very comfortably while they're traveling because different environment, different pillow, different location, different smell, different feeling, different sheets, different comfort of bed. Maybe this is rock hard. But as long as you got a sleep sack with you, it mitigates a lot of these differences. In other words, the sleep sack is consistent, every day. Every bed you sleep in feels the same on your skin. Yeah. And you could be naked in a sleep sack and feel comfortable that you're not on a bed like 100 other people were naked on. So, yeah, it's a small deal, makes a big difference. Another counterintuitive thing that I've got on this pack list, butt wipes. Sounds silly. You'd laugh at the idea until the day you need them. And just to be real with you, the last trip I did across the country with my friends, all 4 of us, at one time or another throughout the trip, pooped our pants. Yep. All of us at one time or another pooped our pants. It just happens. It happens. And, when my first buddy pooped his pants, it's like we all laugh at him. Like, what? And then what? Okay? Like, you're sitting in a restaurant. Oh, pooped my pants. Like, now what? I mean, what do you do next? It's an issue. You can't just roll with it. You gotta clean yourself somehow. Now, when you get into let's say, bathroom that has no toilet paper, which is pretty common, and you just pooped your pants, what do you do next? I mean, throw your underwear away? Okay. Rip your shirt off? Done it. Lose a sock? Okay. I mean, it's an awful situation. It's funny to laugh at somebody when they get into that situation, but when it's you, you're like, damn, I wish I would have spent 50 cents and brought some butt wipes. Sounds simple, but you can put these in a little package and have them in your pocket, have them in your bag, have them on your motorbike, have them inside your fag bag, whatever. You don't need 100 of them, but even if you just have 3 wet wipes, praise Jesus. You go from like an awful situation to non-issue. Yep. Again, I laughed at my friends. Oh, you pooped your pants and you didn't have butt wipes? Ha ha ha. Yep, got to Mounier. I pooped my pants and I didn't have butt wipes. So yeah, it sounds minor, but again, goes a tremendously long ways. Next, having a quick dry towel. Look, some people travel with no towel. That's fine, but kind of sucks. Because a towel, you can use it for anything. Obviously showers, but when you wash the grime off your face or hands, it's nice to have a towel, I'm telling you. And also, let's get back to the basics. When you're staying at a guest house, how many asses touched that towel? How many butts has this towel, that's this white towel hanging in a guest house, how many butts has this rubbed? How many genitals has this touched? How many faces has this touched? Okay, more than 100. I'm not very excited about drying my face off with a public towel. You know, I'm not very excited about that. Instead, if I bring my own towel, okay, I know where it's been, at least. And if it has touched an ass, it's at least mine. Only. And now, the one thing with towels is you don't want to bring a traditional large-scale towel because volume-wise, it can be big. Like, even if you fold it up, you know, it's what? That size by that size and about that thick? Yeah, it kind of sucks. Plus, normal towels don't dry very fast. That means if you actually take a shower and then use this towel, it becomes wet by definition. And then what? You slap it inside your bag, it's going to stay wet inside your bag. When you pull it out at the end of the, you know, the next night or whatever, yep, it's heavy, wet, and starts to smell. Issue, issue, issue. If you've got a microfiber quick towel, yeah, then your whole trip is easy. It's really easy. That means you can pull this out, use it to dry off for all of your showers, wash your face, wash your hands, do whatever you want to do. Take it out, shake it once, hang it up for 20 minutes, it's dried, ready to rack. On top of that, they pack small. In fact, a quick dry towel is about the size of a battery. Yeah, maybe like 2 decks of cards. Yeah, that goes a long ways, long way. Even if you've just got a small one, like in other words, they have full-size bath towels, great choice. But you can also get 2 smaller ones, which would be like yay big, or, you know, let's say roughly, this is dirty I know, but roughly this size. Yep, that'll do it. That'll do it. That'll take care of you for a shower. That'll go a long way, really long way. And you'll be doing great with it. So yes, microfiber, quick dry towels. Now, on the note of microfiber and quick dry, if you get shirts and underwear that are quick dry, oh man, they go a long ways. In other words, don't get like cotton Hanes underwear because A, you don't want cotton to begin with. B, when they get wet, they don't become dry very fast at all. In an area that's 100% humidity, they will never dry, okay? And actually, cotton clothes will start to mold, in fact. It'll mold while it's on your body. It'll mold inside of your bag. It sucks. Don't do that. If you got clothes like this is more like nylon or like jerseys or quick dry towels or quick dry underwear and stuff like that, that means A, you can wash your clothes in a sink really quick and really fast. Boom, boom, done. And then hang it out. And an hour later, it's dry. Perfect. Pack it, wear it, do whatever you want to do from there. That'll help. That'll go a long ways. So, for example, on my body right now, yep, this shirt, I can wash it, get 100% wet, and it's dry in an hour. These shorts right here, yep, same idea. I can wash them myself in a sink, and yep, they're dry in an hour. Yep, and sure enough, quick dry underwear, same concept. I can wash it myself, good to go. So instead of me bringing 14 changes of clothes for a 14-day trip, I can effectively bring 2 underwears, 2 shirts, 2 shorts, done. And when I get to the hotel, I can wash either of them, and the next morning I'm ready to go. So all of my clothes fit ultimately in just to use comparison, a box like this is all of my clothes that I need for perpetuity. So I can travel for, let's say, 6 months, and my entire stock of clothes is this size. Yeah, because they're quick dry. So it sounds like a small tip, quick dry clothing, but it's huge, huge tip, huge tip. It saves you time, saves the mold, it's more sanitary and clean, more comfortable, and you can wash them more often. It just rocks, you know. So, small tip: you don't think about it until you travel. Once you start traveling, you're like, oh, duh. Okay. Another big one that is really worth having is waterproof bags. Waterproof bags. Now they come in a lot of shapes and sizes, but a lot of them are for, let's say, electronics. So let's just say it's a bag about yay size, and it's got a little Ziploc in some cases, or there's a few different mechanisms, but effectively it's a plastic bag that keeps everything dry. Cool. Why would you need this? Well, it's a tropical country, folks. It's a tropical country. So there's going to be rain. Your bag will get wet. Everything will get wet. Your passport will get wet. And that sucks. I mean, if your phone dies on you because you put it in the front pocket of your bag and then drove through a rainstorm, that is awful. Most importantly, if your passport gets wet, something funny about ink, it tends to run off when it gets wet. It can ruin your passport to some degree, and certainly ruin your entrance and exit stamps, or ruin your visa, or something like that. It sucks. If you get one of these little waterproof bags, they're about $10. Cool. And put all your electronics in there, you know, put your phone in there, put batteries, put your passport, put anything that you need that's really precious inside of this waterproof bag. Oh my God. Then slap it, you know, wherever you want in your fag bag or main packing thing. Cool. That'll work and go a very, 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 very long ways. Very long ways. Okay? Next, it sounds dumb, but soap. Here we go. Dr. Bronner's. Dr. Bronner's. I think that's how it's spelled. I'm going to double check real quick. Yep. Oh yeah, I spelled it right. First try. Perfect. This stuff's awesome. This stuff's awesome. It's expensive. Not really. I think it's like $20 for like a year's supply. But either way, if you bring around this Dr. Bronner soap, oh man, you can wash your clothes. Check. Shampoo. Check. Mouthwash. Check. Shower soap. Check. Wash your motorbike with it. Check, 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 check. Anything you would normally need to wash can be done. When they say it's 18-in-1, this means that it works for pretty much everything. Yeah, this stuff is awesome. This stuff is awesome. And it's highly concentrated. So that means to have enough soap to wash your body and wash your hair, you need like 3 drops. So if you have a loofah, drip, 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 done. Yeah, when I want to wash all of my clothes, drip, 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 enough soap to wash all my clothes in a sink. Yeah, this stuff is awesome. So another way of saying the same thing is, if you have 100 mils of it, just a tiny little bottle of Dr. Bronner soap, that can last you a month, easy, and takes up what, this much space? Maybe I have an example of the exact bottle that I bring. Not immediately, but anyway, take my word on it. It sounds like a minor thing, but man, if you got your own soap, you're smiling. Another thing about the soap thing is, I've had it happen before where I go to a hotel in America and my body had an allergic reaction to the soap. Let's face it, at a guest house, they do give you free soap and stuff, but it's free soap. It's not the expensive stuff. It's not the good stuff. The free soap that you get is usually the lowest quality, cheapest soap money can buy. And in some cases, and for me, like burns my eyes. And yeah, I get bumps and allergic reactions from it. Yeah, I never used public hotel soap ever again after that, ever. I just bring around Dr. Bronner's 18-in-1 Wonder Soap. Yeah, I got a lifetime supply of it sitting here at my house. That'll go a long ways. It's cleaner, it's better, it's healthier. Just do it. It's worth the money. It's definitely worth the money. So And I'll post a link right here if I can. Here we go. Got it. Yep. Yeah, you can check it out for yourself. The best stuff I ever bought, by a long shot. Next, right here, in terms of bags, you can. I'm gonna send the link right here. Yep. Yeah. Here we go. There it is. E-bags. In my own experience, going through lots and lots and lots of different bags, this is the best bag I've ever used, for sure, by a long shot. And it's from the best bag company I've ever found, by a long shot. Either way, it's got a well, check it out for yourself, but it's got a laptop slot. It's got all the bells and whistles that you'd otherwise need for a bag. You can live out of this one bag indefinitely. And this bag will last indefinitely. That means if you buy this bag now in the year 2019, in the year 2069, you're still going to have it. And it's still going to be new and still work great. If it ever gets damaged, broken, cut, zipper breaks, anything, the e-bags company, will replace it for free. Yeah. This is the finest bag that money can buy. And along the way, it also is airport size, which is to say that you're able to physically bring this bag onto the airplane instead of checking it in. Huge. That's huge. So you don't have to pay for a checked bag. Yeah. So in my own experience, I never check in bags if I can help it. I only bring around this bag only and bring it on the plane with me only. I have traveled across the earth with this bag only for many, many, many times. I mean, for over a decade. I think I bought my first one about 12 years ago. Yep, still going strong. So yeah, finest bag money can buy. Now, I've got to run sort of soon here, but one other thing that I think is worthwhile is right here. Jambox portable Bluetooth speaker. Sounds silly, but man, it's cool. Especially when you're on your motorbike. You can actually attach that to your motorbike and have an outdoor speaker while you're driving. That's sweet. You can watch YouTube videos together as a group. You can have background music anywhere you go. You can go to the beach and have some tunes rocking. Either way, you can watch Netflix and then have a speaker that everyone can hear. Yeah, it's what, $50? Get one of these guys and bring this with you for your trip. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. You're going to have a lot of fun everywhere you go. But anyway, hey, I got to run. But these are just some tips off the bat for traveling across the country. I hope it helps, a few of y'all. But if y'all, I'll be back next week. If you have any other questions, just post any question that you've got. And yeah, I'd be delighted to help from there. So anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see y'all around, huh? Cheers.